Here are Newton and I on the balcony for our early morning grooming session. Newton gets groomed every day. He's 14 months old. He's a goldendoodle. So his parents were a golden retriever and a miniature poodle. Now, it was the miniature poodle that causes the problem. Some people say that miniature poodles or that poodles don't shed. In reality, they shed, but the curls are tight, and when they shed, it doesn't fall to the ground. The fur doesn't fall to the ground; it just stays there. What happens then is that it gets all twined up and caught up into a knot or a tat, and before long, the dog is unmanageable, and there's nothing left but to clip the dog entirely. Well, I didn't want to do that, and certainly not in Montreal this last winter. That was, where we were under an Arctic cold. So I brushed him. I brush him every day, and uh, and I started saving it. Now, um, I had 3 bags full of it, and because as he's aged, he's 14 months, as I say, as he's getting older, his fur is getting longer and longer, and there's just so much of it. So so I brush him. The idea is going to be to use that fur. We'll see how as the video carries on. Now, next question: is it good to groom the dog in this way? Well, first of all, he likes it. I learned how to brush him so that it's not unpleasant for him. So that when I bring out the brushes, he actually comes to me, says, he says, let's do it. Okay. I make sure I don't pull the skin, and when there is a tat starting up, I try to get rid of it, try to undo it as carefully as I can. So I pull lots of fur off of him. Now this is the fur that stays there, that is actually dead, dead hairs that it would just there otherwise creating knots. In the winter, it's obvious that he needs all the fur he can get up here. In the summertime, how about that? Well, as a matter of fact, if you check with the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, they have a good, which is a good starting place for any research on dogs. They make the claim that you should allow your dog, if you have a shaggy dog, just brush him, uh, and don't cut him because clipping him actually um, destroys the effect that the fur has, which is kind of like an insulation or an uh, air conditioning in the summertime. It protects his fur, protects his skin from the sun, and it keeps him cool underneath.
Really early in the morning, and I'm doing what's called teasing because Newton's fur was. I washed Newton's fur a couple of days ago. I dried it, washed it 3 times, and then it felted, so it gets like just like this. See, it goes into felt. So what you have to do is you have to undo them, and they call it teasing. And so here I finished doing the caramel color, so now I'm ready to card it. So that's the way the caramel color
Now, to
looks.
find out how to card it, well, the carders were going to be expensive, the normal carders. So I just got 2 brushes. These 2 brushes, these are just normal dog brushes. They have all hundreds of these little wire teeth in them. So I just load up load up this fur and learning how and get my own technique now. These things, once you know the principle, you can you learn you get your own sort of method. So so all of the little fibers, all of the individual hairs are pointing in the same direction, and then you turn it into, I think they call these in the business, a I think they would call this a bat. I'm a neophyte, but I think that's what they call it. And so that's what you get. See, that's going to be now spun. Well, I have all kinds of them. I have tons and tons of them. So all of these white on this side here, caramel on this side. It's not quite as dark as his skin, as his brown, because I couldn't help but get some white in there. In any case, there's two colors. Now I'm ready to spin this on the drop. So here we are out on the balcony, Newton and I, and I bought a spinner, cost $25, and I learned how to spin. Well, I'm learning how to spin. Anyone using this video as a tutorial on spinning wool should have their head examined. I'm just learning as I go. But really it was really cool when I realized that Newton's fur made a fantastic yarn. It's like mohair, and it's really soft. Well, we'll see that as we go. But in any case, it works, and spinning is a really nice pastime. I mean, it's one of those things where once you get the hang of it, um, you know, it's repetitive, but it's also nice because you see immediately what you're producing and the quality of it. I'll certainly get better as I go. But actually, if I were any more competent, I wouldn't be getting the quality of the wool I'm getting because it's a really artisanal kind of wool called thick and thin. Um, that's actually really valuable these days, but it's strictly the result of me not really being competent. In any case, doing this allows me to sort of think about things as well. Think about um, just what it means. First of all of this is outside of the economy. I'm not being paid. I'm not being paid. If really I would be called, if this is all I was doing, I would be called unemployed. And yet at the same time, this is going to be, if everything goes to order, this will be the one piece of clothing that I'll have. It'll be special to me because I will know from beginning to end how this thing was produced. I did it myself and I did it with Newton. So what does unemployment really mean? Unemployment means, I mean, I think the general conception is that unemployment means that you're not doing anything. But really, what would it mean? It means you're not being paid for all the things you're doing. There's probably no one in the world who's not doing anything. Capitalism creates unemployment out of people who are actually doing things. Well, here we are again at the end of the production process. We haven't started knitting yet. So this is the spindle that I was using, and this is my third ball of yarn that I'm working on here. Uh, Now we finished this one. This is you. This is the white part of you. It's kind of you know, it's really artisanal. It's if I were any more competent, it wouldn't be so good. That is what I want, and that is it's thick and thin yarn. And anyway, that's what I got. And I was just so excited to find that I actually could do it. I mean, and here's the brown, the caramel. It's a smaller ball because he doesn't have his patches aren't brown patches aren't so big. But so now I'm ready. I'm going to start by making knitting a hat for myself for the winter time, and then we'll worry about um, we'll do the sweater later. We'll take another year to get enough to make the sweater. So that's it. Now I'll never have. This will be the first and only maybe uh, garment that I'll have in my entire life where I will know. Come here. Where I'll know where everything came from. Come here. I'll know. Oh, I know that this is where this is where the the yarn came from, and I know that uh, it's not just that no harm was done. He's better for it. He's healthier. He's more insulated and more comfortable because he's provided the yarn that I'm going to use to make myself more comfortable, warmer, because I don't have the natural protection he does. So I'll make myself a hat, a toque, and a sweater. So there's something philosophical behind this, and um, when we think of the world economy and what's done, take a look at this shirt. This is a shirt that good Joe Gadson's father, Delan, who's in the book, made for me when I was in Haiti. You can see the oops, I can't. There. Okay, go ahead. You can see the he embroidered scenes from the Haitian countryside on the pockets that he made. There are three of them. Really, well, I think it's really excellent work. So he was this, he was a very skillful, very skilled tailor, and that's one of the special shirts that he made me. I paid him for it, and so those are his skills. But where did he work? I think Joe Gasson and his friends describe this very well for us in the book. His he worked when he needed because he was dependent on the market, meaning he needed money to live for his family to live. He had to work in the sweatshops, multinational corporations, transnational corporations that draw on labor from Haitians, in this case. And he was terribly exploited there. You can read about it there, and you can read about it in the book. But the point is, he wasn't able to use in those sweatshops any of the skills that he had. Where did the even this Delan didn't produce the cotton himself, um, and the cotton they're using in the sweatshops, we know where it comes from. It's an environmental catastrophe, using enormous quantities of water, insecticides, pesticides, herbicides. It's destroying fields in Africa that have been bought up to to produce it. Well, to cultivate the cotton, the production, the actual production of the fabric is worse. Well, not worse, but equally bad. So we're living in a system that is exploitative on every level of everything. I mean, um, and yet it's possible to produce, and this is just an example. It is possible to produce not only without damaging, but with supporting and uh, helping, ameliorating, valor, adding value not only to what it is you're making, but to the environment, living things like Newton, and uh, uh, and the broader environment, the biosphere. So we have to take these things up. I'm not finished. We're going to take these things up, and in further videos.